What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video. And today, I don't know if this is going to be a long video, short video. I have no idea. But we have 11 draft picks to go over, and I want to go in detail with every single one of these guys. I don't want to do a two-parter. I just want to do it all in one video. Here is the 2022 at New York Giants draft class. So before we start the video, guys, as always, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. We pulled in a lot of subscribers since the draft. I've been doing this since 2015, so you guys know this has been a part of my life forever. YouTube, you know, the camera, the microphone, you know, everything, the subscribers, the comments. You guys mean the world to me. You guys' support mean the world to me. This is why I do it every single year. I love talking football with other football fans. So thank you all for all the support. Just want to give you guys a quick, you know, sort of appreciation for you guys. You guys don't know how much you guys mean to me. You know, I dedicated a whole entire room to making content for you guys. So I seriously love you guys. And you know, thank you for all you guys do for the channel and for me, and the support means the world. So that being said, let's get on to the video. So the Giants decided to stay put at 5-7, which I thought was the best move possible. There's no way. I mean, you guys can go back. I have no clue when's the last time this happened, but I have no idea when there was one team that had at least 2 picks in the top 10 of that respective draft. Like, you know, 5-7 is such a dream come true for all NFL teams. There's no reason why you should trade down at any one of those spots, and the Giants elected not to, and I thought was the best decision they've made in a very, very long time, and just a plus for Joe Schoen in the first round, electing not to take any of those offers, stay there, and get 2 potential blue chip prospects in one draft. Okay, a lot of these people, including Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, even had the Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal both 1 and 2 on their respective draft boards. So that tells you a lot about the 2 players that the New York Giants drafted in 1 year at 5-7. So let's start off with the first guy we drafted, 5th overall, edge rusher out of Oregon, Kayvon Thibodeaux. Now, he was one of my favorite guys coming out in this draft. I think it was Evan Neal who I first scouted, and then it was Kayvon, then it was Aiden. I could be wrong about that, but I remember falling in love with Kayvon Thibodeaux. I was always very hard on Kayvon because of his raw talent. Like, he has a lot of raw talent. He's not as technical as Aiden Hutchinson, and I guess that's really my mistake in really comparing them both, because Aiden is a lot more technical than Kayvon Thibodeaux is, but Kayvon just has a way of getting to the quarterback. Same thing with, you know, fellow New York Giants edge rusher Azeez Ojulari. He has the raw athletic ability of speed, power, you know, that perfect combination there, and I think it's going to go a long way in the NFL, especially if he learns more arm moves and pass rush moves and so on and so forth. So you guys know Kayvon Thibodeaux, #1 high school player in the United States in 2019 as a freshman, was an honorable mention for the all Pac-12, totaling 35 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, and 9 sacks, and 3 pass breakups, and 1 blocked kick, which is insane in 5 starts. Okay, you think about that production in 5 starts as a true freshman. Okay, this guy is fresh out of high school. He was a #1 high school, consensus #1 high school player in all of the United States in 2019. Despite missing time in 2021 to an ankle injury, he still won first team AP All-American with 100. He finished, you know, his entire career with 126 tackles, 35.5 tackles for loss, 19 sacks, 7 passes defense, 3 forced fumbles in 19 starts. Like I said, he's the perfect combo of speed and power and strength, and he needs to work on those pass rush moves, but you gotta love the way Kayvon Thibodeaux can take over a game and take over an offensive line. Like, there are some times where he doesn't show up. Okay, I can't remember the game in particular. They kept using him in coverage. I can't remember who it was against right off the top of my head, but they kept using him in coverage, and he was terrible. He was getting pushed around. They used him as just a straight up edge rusher to say, hey, get after the quarterback, and they did so, and he had 3 sacks at the end of the game, which is insane because he had no production at all in the beginning of that game. Had 3 sacks at the end of it. Though that's the type of impact that Kayvon Thibodeaux can have if you just have him rushing the passer. So let's move on to offensive tackle Evan Neal out of Alabama, 6'7", 337 pounds. You guys know we don't have to talk too much about these top prospects because obviously a lot of people know about them already. So like I said, 6'7", 335 pounds or 337 pounds. Very, very lean for his size. Okay, you look at him, he doesn't look like too big, you know, he doesn't look, you know, too wide, right? He looks perfectly athletic. He looks like he could, you know, get side to side, that side to side quickness very well. You guys know Bama boys and their offensive, you know, their offensive line, right? Alabama and their offensive linemen, those Bama boys, they have near perfect technique when it comes to the, you know, their offensive line play, how they play. Usually when you draft a top offensive lineman from Alabama, you are not going to miss on them. Evan Neal is a great prospect of them. Probably not the best that's come out in recent memory, but definitely up there as one of the better ones out there. You know, just his combination of how slim he is, and it doesn't even look like he's that powerful because of how slim he is, but it's all muscle, man. It really is. He's very powerful, very athletic, and to me fits that right side of the offensive line perfectly with Andrew Thomas. Now, Evan Neal was a top 10 recruit out of IMG Academy. If you guys don't know, especially in Florida, we know what IMG is. When I was in high school, IMG was very popular. All right, I don't know how popular it is now that I'm not in high school, but if you're facing IMG, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter what sport you play in. They are like literally... Everybody knows about IMG. I don't even think you need to live in Florida, but you know, basketball, freaking football, any sport you can think of, they are like top ranked in. So it's no coincidence the type of player he is, and he came from IMG and went to Alabama. In 2019, started at right guard. He was all SEC as a right guard, and then moved to right tackle in 2020, won team captain in 2021, moved to the left tackle spot, and earned AP second team All-American and first team All-SEC. Obviously, with those two picks, 5 and 7, I have to give an A+. Okay, I'm going to be trying to grade these picks here, but A+ obviously for 5 and 7. You couldn't have gotten any better with the value of those picks. Okay, now we're going to get a little bit more nitty-gritty, right? We all know about Kayvon Thibodeaux. We all know about Evan Neal. We've been talking about these players since February, okay, even before that. Now, we have to talk about the rest of the draft, because the rest of the draft was a huge question mark for most football fans, most Giant fans, right? A lot of these players we've never even heard of being drafted earlier. A lot of them aren't valued as high as they should be, but it looks like the Giants did exactly what the Buffalo Bills did in this draft, and it's no coincidence because Schoen and Brian Daboll come from the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills did the exact same thing this year. They drafted players that basically fit their needs, not exactly picked best player available or best player for that value of the pick. They just picked the players that they needed and are moving along with their day. That's exactly what the New York Giants are doing, all the while rebuilding their team. So in the second round, 43rd overall, the New York Giants selected wide receiver Wandale Robinson, 5'8", 178 pounds, out of Kentucky, ran a 4.44 40-yard dash. Not a complete burner, but on the field, as far as that time goes, and 4.4 is a really good time, but 5'8", you kind of want to be a little faster than that. But his game speed is definitely game-changing when you put him out there in the slot. Now, Wandale Robinson, I have a bit of a problem, but let's get a little bit about Wandale first. He transferred from Nebraska to Kentucky to be closer to his grandmother, who was having a COVID complication. He broke school records in Kentucky and was third in the SEC with 104 receptions and a whopping 1,334 yards and 7 touchdowns. And he also won the Citrus Bowl MVP over Iowa. So he had insane production where he was pretty pedestrian at Nebraska. He went to Kentucky, and it was the best decision he ever made. In his final year, he had over 1,300 yards, 104 receptions, was up there and ranked in the SEC, and had phenomenal production. If I look at Wandale Robinson, I see a lot of Jalen Waddle. Now, I know Wandale Robinson is similar to Kadarius Toney in the respects of they're not the best route runners yet because they're both coming from a different position. Wandale Robinson was also a running back, a former running back, and he's also taken some snaps at running back at Nebraska, at Kentucky. He is utilized in that way as well, which is nice to have. Don't envision the Giants actually using him in that way, but it's nice to have some versatility on the team, which is a big theme the New York Giants went with. We'll get into that later on. But Wandale Robinson, it should be a good slot receiver. Now, do I think he is a second round value? I personally think he's more of maybe a later second, like really late second, like third rounder guy. But like I said, you can't be mad about what the Giants are trying to do. They're just trying to get the players they need and move on with their day. They're not worried about your value. They're not worried about your big board. They're not worried about best player available. They're just trying to fit their needs, get their pieces going, and move along with their day. And I'm on board with that, man. I don't want to be looking at who is the more valuable pick at that spot. I'm gonna grab the guy I like, and I don't care what you think about it. So Wandale Robinson. He's a pure slot receiver, okay? He's a guy that's just going to play the Z position for you, okay? He has a great release, okay? I don't have a problem with his release versus press man coverage. I don't necessarily have a problem with his... I actually do have a problem with his route running a bit. His route running can be a little laggy when he's facing press man coverage. He gets bumped a lot. He gets thrown off his timing with his routes, especially when he's on a stop and go. His burst is very slow because he's being bumped around by press man cover corners, and yeah, that's definitely his weakness. I don't want him lined up on the line of scrimmage. I don't want him being one of those 7 players on the line of scrimmage. I want him back in the back of the line of scrimmage at the Z position. That's what I mostly prefer him at, and I think he could thrive. I don't have a problem necessarily with his releases. Usually with those type of receivers, they get jammed up at the line of scrimmage because they can't release properly. I've seen him release pretty well, especially when he's on the line of scrimmage and he's running a 9 route. He's able to get around, slip around that corner, and get upfield. My only problem is when he's on breaking routes, in or out breaking routes, he gets caught up on these corners that are on him like glue. He's not able to shake them away, and that being because he's smaller, he's not able to cover as much ground. He is fast, but he's not able to cover as much ground because he's smaller. And that's not gonna be good, because our yards of separation for this New York Giants receiving core is not good as it is. So we have to utilize Wandale Robinson in space. But my only problem with Wandale Robinson is we have to scheme up his production. We have to scheme up his play on the field. And to me, I more so want to stay away from receivers like that, because I want receivers where you could throw them on any route, at any play, any scheme, and they're able to produce for you, because you want those type of players on your team. You don't want to have to, hold yourself back because a certain player can't do something, okay? I know you want to utilize your players to the best strengths, but you also have to realize their weaknesses as well. And you really can't put Wandale Robinson on the outside. You really can't put him on press man cover corners, right? That's not going to be a good thing for you. You may have to sub him out. You may have to scheme something else for him, right? So I like Wandale Robinson. I think he's a 3rd round value. I'm going to give the pick a B-, just because we already have a receiver in Kadarius Toney like him. Now, Wandale Robinson may just be an insurance plan for him, because Wandale is one of the toughest players. I can't believe I didn't mention this yet, but he's one of the toughest players in college football. He takes some massive hits and still gets right up, has a very, very small injury list. I don't know if he's ever had a concussion, so that is very relieving to hear, because we know about Sterling Shepard. I don't think he's ever had like ankle issues, right? Like with Kadarius Toney. He's been pretty relatively healthy, cross our fingers, throughout his collegiate career. So this may be an insurance plan for Kadarius Toney. Maybe we paid a premium for him in a 2nd round, but the Giants clearly want to do something with that wide receiver position. They kind of want to stay smaller, and Wandale Robinson was the guy there. Maybe Sky Moore was the better pick. To me, maybe Sky Moore was the better pick, but they like Wandale Robinson, so I'm going to roll with it. B- for the Giants and that 2nd round pick. Now, the next prospect is one of my favorites. In the 3rd round, the New York Giants selected with the 67th overall pick, guard out of North Carolina, Josh Ezeudu. Okay, I love this prospect. Okay, 6'4", 308 pounds, started playing his redshirt freshman season, started 7 out of 13 games in his redshirt freshman season, 2 at left tackle, 5 at left guard. He received all ACC accolades in 2021, started at left guard. Check this out, in 2021, started at left guard 9 games and at left tackle in 2 games, and in 1,019 pass blocking plays, only allowed 2 sacks in his career. They both came this year, but his entire collegiate career only allowed 2 sacks in 1,019 pass block plays. And on top of that, you guys have to realize he played so many positions on that offensive line. He played all of them, right? I don't think he played center, but he played a lot of positions. Okay, 4 out of the 5 positions pretty well. And you got to think that stat, only allowing 2 sacks and over 1,000 pass block plays while he's playing other positions, is something to take note of. Okay, consistency seems to be a theme with this kid. It doesn't matter where you put him. Usually you have to get in the rhythm, right? If you're playing a new position, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're playing football or anything else. Usually you want to stay in the zone. You want to continue what you're doing and build at it, and you'll get better. And then usually if you move around a lot, you're gonna mess up every once in a while. But Josh Ezeudu is moving from left tackle on first down, going to left guard on second down, and back to left tackle on third down. It's literally in the same game, and he's not giving up sacks. He gave up 2 sacks in his collegiate career. Okay, so that's insane to me. His run blocking ability is fantastic for an offensive lineman out of North Carolina, and we drafted 2 of them. It's hard to imagine that North Carolina was not very ranked well as having a good offensive line. With those 2 run blockers there, Josh Ezeudu, more importantly, because he was able to move around that line wherever they needed him to, his side-to-side quickness for a projected guard is actually very, very good. And his footwork, that North Carolina knows how to make some offensive linemen with good footwork, because they both have it. But Josh Ezeudu has some good footwork, knows how to get to the second level in the run game. He's a complete mauler in the run game. He'll direct anybody he wants to direct. He'll be put on a trap play from the left tackle position, run right up the gut and blow somebody up and allow his quarterback to run through it. To me, Josh Ezeudu was definitely worth a 3rd round pick. I can't believe I haven't heard about Josh Ezeudu in the draft process. I was looking at guards not too deeply, so that's been pretty much my fault. But Josh Ezeudu, to me, is a 3rd round value. I think the Giants hit a slam dunk here. You want a guy as versatile as Josh Ezeudu. I'm sure NFL GMs drool over offensive linemen that can play multiple positions. Look at David Neal. How long was David Neal part of the Giants, and how important was David Neal to the New York Giants? Well, a guy that played every single position, guard, center, left tackle. You go back and watch New York Giants games from back in the day, you'll see David Neal line up absolutely everywhere on the starting offensive line. Just to give you guys a number of what Josh Ezeudu did at North Carolina, he had 1,247 snaps at left guard, 508 snaps at left tackle, and 171 snaps at right tackle. All right, this guy was 3 positions primarily, was very, very good. I think he played right guard like a couple of snaps, and I don't think he played any center snaps, if I'm not mistaken, but he's everywhere. Okay, he was absolutely everywhere, and I love that he was able to be as versatile as he was, and I think that helped his draft stock a lot. Okay, he had a 83 run block grade according to PFF, and I'm not a big PFF guy, but when it comes to offensive linemen, I do take stock in what they say. So that being said, the Josh Ezeudu pick to me is an A. All right, I know a lot of people like other guards out there. Dylan Parham for one. I don't know if Ed Ingram was still there. I think Ed Ingram was a 2nd round pick, but there were a couple of other guards there that a lot of people liked. Like I said, I didn't do too much work on the guard position as much as I would like to, so I'll be completely honest with you guys. Don't know who was the better pick there, but Josh Ezeudu to me is 3rd round value, and I like him a lot. Moving on to the 2nd, 3rd round pick for the New York Giants, 81st overall, cornerback Cordell Flott, 6 feet, 175 pounds out of LSU. And listen, I'm not the biggest Cordell Flott fan, but let's get into a little bit about Cordell Flott. He didn't get his shot as a full-time starter until 2020 when he started all 10 games at the nickel spot and totaled 43 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, and 4 pass breakups. And then in 2021 completely did it all as a boundary corner. He played some nickel corner and even played some safety. All right, he had 1 interception, 3 passes defense, and 41 tackles. He was used outside, inside, even at safety. And like I said, the Giants they have a clear theme with this draft, and that is versatility. Okay, even Evan Neal, as high as he was drafted, played left guard, played right tackle, played left tackle. Okay, Josh Ezeudu we just talked about. Wandale Robinson was used as a running back and a receiver. Okay, if you see what the Giants were doing, they were getting guys that were able to play multiple positions. In my opinion, that's probably the best thing to do in a rebuild, so you could find where you're going to put those pieces instead of drafting guys that just do one thing. Now, there is a lot of confusion when it comes to Cordell Flott. Do I think that he's a good corner? I think so. I think he's more projected as a 5th round guy right now. I know a lot of people don't like that because they want to believe in Cordell Flott. I want to like Cordell Flott, and I think he's a very, very smart, instinctive player. I think he's one of the better zone corners out there in this draft when you think about it, because a lot of these corners are man corners, right? A lot of them don't really have the sense of playing zone. He's very, very smart. He has high IQ. He has great communication with his fellow defensive backs, right? He had great communication when he was lined up with Derek Stingley, who was on the outside, and he was on the slot. They were able to pass off receivers to each other very, very smoothly, and the coverage was just consistent when they were on the field. Cordell Flott played excellent zone coverage. I thought he played very well there. My only problem is him as a possible man corner. Okay, Wink Martindale runs a press man corners, press man scheme when it comes to the defensive backs, and he doesn't fit that mold. Now, he's very long and lanky, okay? He's 6 foot, 175 pounds. He's not 6'1", Diggy. He's not 6'1", he's 6 foot, all right? According to the Combine, they measure them correctly, okay? Not at LSU's Pro Day, at the Combine. He measured in at 6 foot, just slightly over 6 foot, 175 pounds, okay? He's smaller. He's very aggressive as a tackler, especially he tries his best on the run game. Just because you try your best doesn't mean you're effective. He's all right. He's made some pretty highlight-worthy tackles in his day at LSU. I don't know how effective he's going to be in the NFL when it comes to bigger receivers and bigger running backs and even trying to get around bigger offensive linemen. He's long and lanky, but he doesn't play press man, okay? He has long arms, but doesn't play press man. I don't think I would trust him playing press man at all. He has a hard time, not biting on double moves. If you watch UCLA, him versus UCLA, Kyle Phillips, who's one of the better route runners in the draft out of UCLA. I think he was like a 5th, 6th round pick, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Maybe he was drafted higher. But Kyle Phillips isn't like the best out there, right? But he's a decent route runner. And I'm telling you, Kyle Phillips blew the hell up out of Cordell Flott. And it was very, very concerning to me because Cordell Flott played mostly man coverage in that game, and he got absolutely lit up. Now, I will say, Kyle Phillips also beat Derek Stingley on a huge play for a touchdown in that game as well, but that's neither here or there. We don't have Derek Stingley on the team. I'm more so concerned about Cordell Flott. And I always say this as a joke, all right? Flott. What the hell is a Flott? We have to put Flott in the back of a jersey. Okay, Flott. What is a Flott? I don't know what that is, but it's just a joke, man. I want to see him succeed. I don't know where the Giants are gonna put him. Like I said, he's a zone guy. He's not a man guy. He's a zone guy. So I'm thinking maybe they try him out at free safety and have Xavier McKinney be the strong. I don't know what they want to do. I think Xavier McKinney was a strong safety in college. I think he's more so a free safety now, but I don't know where they want to do with him. Are they going to put him in the slot? If so, if you do put Cordell in the slot, you have to kick either Darnay Holmes or Aaron Robinson on the outside, or you just don't play one of them because we don't know what's happening with James Bradbury. Maybe Flott is the potential replacement for Bradbury on the outside, but how are you going to play that? He doesn't play man defense. And even if you want to put him in the slot, which is primarily his you know, he's a big slot type of cornerback, right? He's 6 foot. You don't really put 6 foot corners in the outside. I mean, on the inside, you usually throw them outside. But like I said, are you gonna put Aaron Robinson on the outside? Are you gonna put Darnay Holmes on the outside? I mean, I wouldn't. You know, I'm keeping those guys in the slot at nickel and dime. I don't know if I don't know where the Giants want to put Cordell Flott, but we'll see what happens there, guys. And so I'm going to give this pick a C+, just because I really don't know what the Giants are going to do with him, and I really don't imagine him having a role where I say, man, he's going to be perfect in this role in Wink's defense. I just don't see it. With the Giants' 4th round pick, they select tight end Daniel Bellinger, 6'5", 253 pounds, out of San Diego State. This guy is one of the more underrated tight ends in this draft. I'll be honest, I've heard of him, but didn't do any work of Daniel Bellinger in this draft process. I know he was one of those tight ends mentioned around that huge circle of tight ends that, that huge class of tight ends that we have this year. He was definitely mentioned, but he's not really a guy I looked into. Now, Bellinger runs a 4.63 40 time, and that's good because he's a run blocking tight end. He's not even a guy that's a receiving tight end. He's not a flashy guy like Greg Dulcich, right? He's not really a guy to do it all like Trey McBride, but he can sort of do it all, but he wasn't necessarily used like that. He's a guy that catches everything, right? He has huge hands. I forgot what his hands are measured in that, but he has absolutely huge hands. He's 6'5", 253. He's a bigger tight end, more of your traditional tight ends, the guys to go out there and run block for you. He's a fantastic blocker, very mean, very gritty, knows how to direct his blocks to open up in the run game, and can do a little bit of work in the passing game as well, as far as, having to chip a little bit or just straight up pass block and be that 6th offensive lineman for you. He can do it all. He seems a little bit slow on, with his game film, okay? He ran a 4.63 40 time, but his game film looks a little bit sluggish. His legs are just a little bit sluggish. He takes a while to turn upfield. Once he catches the ball and turns upfield, it takes a while for him to do so. So that's a little bit concerning for me, but I don't need him to be that. We need a run blocking tight end, and that's all you could really ask for. Like I said, he catches the ball very well. I think he's going to be a very good red zone threat. He's actually had a couple of really good red zone plays in college. Very, very confusing why they didn't make him more so a part of the offense there in San Diego State. It's not like they had a lot of great weapons to begin with. Bellinger is definitely a diamond in the rough for the Giants. I think can really make a name for himself. Pairing him along with Ricky Seals-Jones, who's more of a receiving guy. Those two at tight end can be the yin and yang to this New York Giants offense and work a lot of wonders. So I give the Daniel Bellinger pick an A. I really like the pick. It's exactly what the Giants need, and we needed a tight end. So I'm really a big fan of Dan Bellinger. Next in the 4th round, 114th overall, we go from Dan to Dane. Dane Belton, safety out of Iowa. Now, if you look at Dane Belton, you're probably going to grade him like a 6th round value, okay? This was not a very good value pick at all. If the Giants wanted to get some depth, they could have done that later on. This one really confuses me, okay? I don't see Dane Belton starting over Julian Love. Julian Love was a corner we drafted out of Notre Dame in the 4th round a couple of years ago, made his transition to safety, and he's been pretty good at it. He's slated as our starter right now at strong safety, and I don't think Dane Belton is going to compete to change that. If you look at Dane Belton on film, he's a zone flat safety on a cover 3. So you know how in cover 3 one of those safeties comes down to play the box a little bit. He's the guy that just plays the flat pretty well. That's pretty much all he does. I don't like him as a single high. I don't like him too far back. He's an aggressive tackler, but he's not very effective. He's a little bit on the smaller side. I mean, 6'1", 205, and he's a little bit undersized to me. I mean, 6'1" is fine, but 205, he's not really that thumper you really need at strong safety. He's not really that guy, especially in run support. He tries, but he can't get off blocks. He can't shed tackles, and sometimes he gets ran over. I mean, quite simply, I'm not in love with this Dane Belton pick. Like I said, I hope all 11 of these guys just exceed my expectations, whether I have good ones or bad ones for them. But Dane Belton is not a good pick for me at all. In the 4th round, I'm pretty sure there were I would have to look, but I'm pretty sure there were other safeties there the Giants could have targeted besides a guy that was consensusly graded as like a 6th round pick. Now I know the Giants just wanted to get their guys and move on. And he is a little bit, he adds a little bit of versatility. He was moved around, that defensive back. He was playing in the slot. Sometimes he plays, single high. Sometimes he played in the cover 2 as a, 2 high safeties. Sometimes he played in that flat on the cover 3. I'm just not in love with Dane Belton, just to keep it plain, short, and simple. Now, he started at linebacker. He had 4 starts as a true freshman as a linebacker. 2020, he had 8 starts as a cash backer. That's what I really see him, as a money backer. They call him cash or money. Money backer is what I really see Dane Belton, what he is, right? A hybrid between linebacker and safety. He's just a little undersized for the position. 6'1", 205. He's actually a lot of it undersized for that money backer position, because you're moving into the NFL. It's a whole different game out there. 6'1", 205 is just not going to cut it to be a money backer. And then in 2020, he was still playing that money backer and strong safety role, had 14 starts, 5 interceptions in 1 year, made first team all Big Ten with 46 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 7 passes defense on top of those 5 interceptions. Like I said, I guess you could say he's versatile, but he's not very effective. I don't think he's going to be challenging Julian Love for a starting position. I think he's just a depth piece. I don't like the fact that we drafted a 4th round pick to be just a depth piece, because usually your 4th round picks are fringe starters. I don't think he's fringe at all. I think he's a special teamer / backup safety if we really needed him to be one. So that being said, I'll give this pick a C-. Now, this one is one of my favorite picks out there, okay? I don't know why people aren't talking about this guy as much as they should. With one of our 5th round picks, the New York Giants selected 146th overall, linebacker Micah McFadden, 6'1", 240 pounds from Indiana. Listen, he's a little undersized at 6'1", but has the strength, has the weight there at 240, and also has the strength as well. Now, he won all Big Ten honors in 2019, had 61 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions in 12 starts. And then, in his career, he totaled 216 tackles, 36 tackles for loss, 14 sacks, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 passes defense. He's a high production inside linebacker. He's a guy that reminds you of one Blake Martinez, right? Blake Martinez was always up there in the tackles his whole entire career, ever since he was with Green Bay and going into the Giants. Same thing with Micah McFadden. He always puts himself a part of that play. It doesn't matter if it's like a mile off, he'll run over there and clean up the tackle if he needs to. Now, some people may not like that, a guy that pads the stats, but to me, it shows a guy with high effort, okay? He goes out there. It doesn't matter if there's a sweep play across the field. He'll be the only one running after them, and he has very, very good speed. I really like the speed element he adds. He takes very good angles on those tackles. When there's a running back bouncing outside, he takes very, very good angles, and that reminds me a lot of Blake Martinez when he does that. He has fantastic pursuit. He has decent gap pressure. He knows how to find the gap and burst right through it. He has great burst on it, and his momentum is not slowed that much when he's met by offensive linemen. If you look at our fellow draft pick later on, Darrian Beavers, he's a guy that slows down, when he's met with contact inside the offensive line when he's blitzing. Micah McFadden runs freaking through it like a train, dude. He runs right through pressure, and he does a very, very good job at that. Now, he's also a great open field tackler as well. He's a guy that's going to be a great run stuffer, and a guy that's going to blow up a lot of screens, blow up wide receiver screens, running back sweeps. Like, he's going to blow up a lot of those type of plays. If he gets action, he's going to blow up a lot of those type of plays, and he's going to be a tackle for loss machine, man. He had 36 tackles for loss in his collegiate career, had 14 sacks on top of that as a linebacker. All right, this guy, not even an edge rusher. He's not an edge rusher. He's a linebacker. Also had like an over 90 pass rush. I think I had like 92.6 or something like that pass rush grade as an off-ball linebacker. That ranks the highest amongst all off-ball linebackers. That's absolutely insane. He is an absolute blitzer up the middle from the inside linebacker position. He is very, very productive. He's a high production inside linebacker, and that's something that you want. Luke Kuechly, Blake Martinez, these guys all had a high production. Their stats were insane because they were making themselves a part of every single play. They were cleaning up tackles. They were making their own tackles. They were always trying to get after the ball carrier and with relentless pressure. And Micah McFadden does that. He's a very, very good prospect. I'm going to give this pick an absolute A+ because we found value in the 5th round. Is he graded as a 5th round guy? I would grade him as a 4th round guy. I would be okay if the Giants drafted him in the 4th round. So I'm going to say he's an A+ pick because it's a position of need that we needed. We didn't have to overpay for him, and I think he was graded a lot less favorably than I think he actually is. I think he's a 4th round value, and we got him in the 5th round, 146th overall. I have to give it an A+, just given all those factors. Our next pick in the 5th round was defensive tackle DJ Davidson out of Arizona State, 6'3", 327. Now, he is a traditional nose tackle guy. He's not a guy that's going to force pressure. He's not going to have the sexy highlights where he's getting to the quarterback or bursting right through the offensive line and tackling the running back through the A-gap. He's not that at all. He is a gap stuffer. He's a guy that we need on this team. He's a guy that's not flashy, and I think is a good pick. I'm going to give it a B+. I don't think it was a knock it out. He knocked it out the park with like an A+, or A grade. I'm gonna give it a solid B+. And he's a gap stuffer, man. He takes up space. He's gonna help clog up that offensive line and create less lanes for the running back to go through. That's if he gets playing time. He probably can get a lot of playing time because right now our projected nose tackle is Boise State Bronco David Moa. Love that, but I don't imagine him keeping his job for much longer. We have Justin Ellis there as well, but we saw guys leave out of here. Dalvin Tomlinson is out of here. Austin Johnson's out of here. We don't have any nose tackles here to help play that role, and DJ Davidson is going to be put in a good position where he has a chance to start being drafted out the 5th round. So 147th overall, we'll have to see. And with our 3rd and final 5th round pick in this draft, we drafted another guard, the other guard out of North Carolina, Marcus McKethan, 173rd overall, 6'6", 340 out of UNC, like I just mentioned. Now, this guy is bigger than Josh Ezeudu, okay? We're talking, Josh Ezeudu is like 6'4", 308. Marcus McKethan is 6'6", 340, has a very similar frame to that of Evan Neal, okay? He has a bigger frame where, he can add more weight if he wanted to, but he's already 340s. He weighs 3 pounds more than Evan Neal, all right? And he's very, very lean for his size, and he moves extremely well, an absolute athlete at his size. He has great side-to-side quickness, has a great pass blocking grade. I think he's over 90 as a pass blocking grade by PFF, which is insane. Has like a 78 run blocking grade, which is decent. Not as good as Josh Ezeudu, but is decent. I think he may struggle in the passing game in the NFL. He has sideline to sideline quickness, but guys are able to slip around him pretty easily. But I like he maintains a good anchor as well. Something I like in a offensive lineman. He's an absolute mauler in the run game, absolute mauler in general. Having a guy that's as big as he is, an immovable object. I like him in the 5th round. I'm going to give this grade an A, a solid A, because we got a guy in the 5th round that can possibly come in if we have any injuries or any fatigue, or maybe we just have a play where we just, want the bigger guys out there. 6'6", 340, who wouldn't want a guy out there like that? So, hopefully, he adds good depth to this offensive line. Joe Schoen and this new regime did a fantastic job revamping this offensive line, both in free agency and in the draft. We drafted 3 offensive linemen, and to me, all 3 of them were great picks. Even though UNC isn't a school to really produce offensive linemen like that, I think drafting both of those guards was a good move. And last but not least, the Giants went out and drafted another linebacker, similar to how what the Giants did in like 2020 when they drafted 3 off-ball linebackers. So the Giants go ahead and draft another off-ball linebacker, Darrian Beavers, 6'4", 237, out of Cincinnati. Now, a lot of people are a bigger fan of Darrian Beavers than maybe I am. Maybe that's because of the school that came out of. Cincinnati had one of the most draft picks this year as far as schools go. They had like over 10. And all of them were great picks. Even Darrian Beavers is a good player. Probably, I don't know if he's better than a 6th round player, but he's a decent player. He was a 3-sport athlete in high school. In 2018, actually played defensive end for, I think it was Cincinnati, or did he transfer? I could be, I don't know. I could be mistaken, but I don't know if he played for Cincinnati. He played for UConn. I'm sorry. He played for UConn before. Had 4 sacks for UConn, 23 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, and 2 passes defense. And then he came to Cincinnati in 2020, earning him a 2nd team American Athletic Conference, and with 58 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. Also included 2 interceptions and 4 passes defense. Had a lot of production over there. And this in 2021, he absolutely broke out and was ranked 1st team all conference in his in his career. 102 tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and 1 interception, along with 2 forced fumbles and 2 passes defense. He absolutely had a lot of production there in Cincinnati. He's a great size for a linebacker. Has that traditional linebacker size at 6'4", 237. He has defensive end experience. He's an effective tackler. He lines up all around the front 7. You see him line up at the strong side, at the weak side, covering guys. I don't think he's the best at that. And, lines up inside as well. Lines up at defensive end. He lines up all around the front 7 besides defensive tackle. My only problem with him is, although I feel like he's a good blitzer up the middle, his momentum gets stopped a lot by offensive linemen. He doesn't like burst through them. He doesn't try to go through those offensive linemen. He kind of just gets stopped and is like just so okay with it. Like, he just seems just like, oh cool, I got stopped, and he's just like, he gives up on it and just try to wave his hands in the air and try to defend the pass. He's got to be more aggressive, like Micah McFadden is, that tries to run through the offensive lineman, try to get to the ball carrier or the quarterback. He doesn't have a certain like skill set, right? He doesn't have like a particular skill set that you would say, okay, he fits right in this position, because he doesn't necessarily do anything like great. He does a lot of things well. He doesn't do anything great. Like, his pass rush skills are okay. They're fine, especially when he lines up at defensive end. They're probably the best, but even so, he's still not that much effective. In coverage, he's very stiff. His hips are very stiff in coverage. He's not able to get sideline to sideline as much as you would like to. He doesn't react fast enough on breaking routes. He doesn't react fast enough when the ball is thrown. He's a good cleanup guy. He's good at getting to the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage. That's good. Like I said, he gets too caught up on blocks a lot. Has stiff hips. He worries me a little bit. I'm still going to give this grade about a B, just because he adds linebacker depth, and we're kind of double dipping at the position, trying to add some more competition, because no one's going to stop me from drafting a linebacker. Tate Crowder is not going to stop me from drafting a linebacker. I like Tate Crowder, but there's always better guys out there. So that being said, guys, as a final grade for the New York Giants, I'm going to give their final grade a B+. Now, people see B and they just automatically think it's not a good draft. They just think that I'm just trying to give them a good grade just to not give them an A. But I can't give this team an A, but because all these picks were very, very out of whack as far as value goes. And there's a lot of players I'm just not sure about. Darrian Beavers, I'm not sure about. Cordell Flott, I'm not sure about. Dane Belton, I'm not sure about. So a lot of these guys seem very, out of whack to me as far as the pick goes. But I'm going to reserve a lot of those thoughts and feelings until next year, and we'll revisit this draft and see how well they did. But for now, I have to give it a B+, and I think it's a solid B+. I think the first 2 picks definitely carries that a little bit. If it wasn't for those first 2 picks, probably maybe we're looking at B-, C+ range. But B+ is a good grade. And if this draft does anything, if 9 of these players bust, right? 9 of those players just do terrible. At least those 2 players do well. Like, if Kayvon Thibodeaux and Neal absolutely ball out and have a great career with the Giants, who's gonna care about the rest of the nine picks? Nobody's gonna care. So as long as those two guys do well, this will be a successful draft, and I love what they did. So that being said, guys, that is the video. It was a long video. I've been talking for a while now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Spent a lot of time on this. So be sure to like the video, subscribe if you guys are new, and for any more Giants content, NFL content, it's gonna be coming your way. Be patient, guys. I'm trying my best here. But that being said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.